Hey, good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us for another edition of our weekly real estate backstory. We do this every Monday, kind of a good way to start off your week. We kind of go over the comings and goings, and we basically try and, pull back the covers and expose the soft underbelly of the real estate world here in the Atlanta market. My name is Alan Richardson. I'm the managing broker here at Maximum Realtor and Realtor Partners.
My name is Ming Richardson, the compliance broker for Maximum One Realty and Realtor Partners.
And we want to kind of jump in today and talk, most of the time we try and be very positive. But today we want to start off with a don't do it. Yeah. Don't do these colors.
Well, with the spring coming and people change their opinion about certain things. So,
well, and some folks think bold is in and that kind of stuff. And so Fixer did this big study on the most popular color trends, what's going on. But what really stood out to us was not the ones that, because we've already talked about what are the most popular colors, the grays, the beiges, the browns. Those are very popular right now, and as well they should be. But what are the ugly ones? What are what are the ones you don't want to do?
It's most off-putting colors.
So the number one or the worst paint color to paint your house
is my favorite color.
Red.
Red.
Don't paint a house red, yes. Right? Red is a boo-boo. Red is bad.
And don't do it. No. Nickelodeon lime green either.
Yeah, lime green is number 2. It's a close. Actually, I think it's tied for number 1. Yeah, lime green and red, which that's kind of Santa colors. Don't do that. After that, bright yellow comes in. So you don't want your house to really look like a warning sign. That kind of stuff.
And mustard yellow goes after.
Yeah.
And course of pink. After that,
yeah,
just because they're specific to a certain gender.
So no red, no lime green, no bright yellow houses. That's basically just kind of what our advice is for you there. All right, now this week marks, or not this week, but later this week, Sunday is St. Patrick's Day. So March 17th is St. Patrick's Day this week. And one of the reasons why we want to kind of bring up St. Patrick's Day, partly, everybody is Irish that day. So, you can kiss me, you're Irish. But really, it's a great reason to reach out. You can wish people, from a marketing point of view, St. Patrick's Day is very, very easy marketing out there.
It's kind festive. Of stuff. It's a fun time.
So there's lots of things that you can do to kind of share, happy St. Patrick's Day, everything going on, wear green, don't forget. So just take that opportunity as a reason to, or
reach out to your spheres.
Yeah, exactly. All right, now there is a new study out, and it talks about the difference between location versus price. And for years we've heard, like the old adage in real estate, like what's most important? Location, right? Well, it turns out it's not the case anymore. It used to be location. And location is still really important.
It is, but I think because of the inflation that we have had in housing, upsurge of housing price, now it is about price.
Yeah, and so it's affordability now. So it was location. Now it's price. And so we have to understand that. And we're even seeing that kind of how it plays out in terms of say the type of listings that we're seeing and what's happening with price movement on the different pricing tiers. Affordability is a big deal. That's what we're seeing, like even in new construction, where we see the folks who are willing to move farther out. But guess what? Those homes are farther out. They're a little bit less expensive, kind of thing. Yeah. And so, why are the builders building more townhomes than they are single family detached? Because of price. Because it makes them more affordable, kind of thing. And so, it's important that we understand in talking to our clients, that kind of stuff. It still is price. Now, one other thing that came out of this same study, kind of thing, was the importance of social media and how social media impacts the consumer's desire to purchase a particular home. 43%. We're talking about almost half of buyers were influenced through social media as to what type of home
that they should have.
Yeah, correct. Which ones that they want to have. People, and so marketing, lifestyle, that kind of stuff, but engaging on social media, such a huge, important piece for it out there.
And guess what? Facebook is now using AI to supercharge their algorithm. that recommends you the video that you may want to see.
See, now this is a big change for Facebook because, first of all, no one really knows the Facebook algorithm. We know it's out there, but we don't really know how it works. And so, whenever you post a video or you do a post on Facebook, like not everybody in your news feed sees that. Not every friend that you have does it come across onto their story. They have this algorithm, and their algorithm for video has been the same kind of thing. It's been based on different metrics. Well, now what they're doing is they're changing it to this II algorithm.
Hmm.
But what they're trying to do is make it more like TikTok. And the reason this is really important for us is we have to understand how you can like part of being effective on TikTok is staying consistent with your brand. Because the way TikTok's AI is, if you go into TikTok and you start watching videos about real estate content, they're going to show you more videos about real estate content. And Facebook has been kind of all over the place. And now we're seeing where Facebook's AI is going to be doing more of the same thing. They're trying to take over. They would love to shut down TikTok. And so Facebook is now starting to use a very similar AI algorithm. So when people are looking at real estate content, which is really good for us because that means that they're interested in buying or selling real
Correct.
estate. So doing more real estate related videos and being consistent with your content can be really, really effective on trying to market through social media and in particular Meta and Facebook out there. Now, while we're talking about marketing, that kind of stuff, there was a different study done which said, "Are you better off?" And it was looking at email marketing, and so and they went out and they looked at a bunch of different metrics when people send out email, and one reason why a lot of people don't want to send a lot of email is that, well, a lot of people unsubscribe, which is true,
That is true.
and a lot of people don't open it as much, which is true. And so what they found is that so that they did this study and they said one was where they were sending out content on a weekly basis, and on the other they were sending out content on on a once a month basis kind of thing. And which one had the greatest impact? And what they found was the one that well, sorry, I know my brain just stops working. You end up if you do it weekly, more people will unsubscribe, more people will not open. However, when you do it weekly, guess what you do get more of? More transactions. More people actually end up engaging with your content. So there is value there. You know, will more people stop following you? Maybe. Will more
Maybe.
people unenroll? Yes. But guess what else they're going to do?
They're
Hopefully
going to
buy more houses.
subscribe.
Right.
Correct. For
Exactly.
the one that are really looking, they will be following you closely and see what what the market's doing.
Yep. So now this past week, they, there's some new data out there, and when you first look at this data, it looks a little bit alarming. And so for the month of February, nationwide property values dropped by 0.1%. And there's a lot of folks, and so I've seen some headlines where people are
Uh
talking
huh.
about, oh, prices are dropping, things are going down.
But
Please,
once again, real
no.
estate is very local. So in Atlanta market, we're not experiencing that.
Well, not only that, but like it's seasonal. Like we
Correct.
all, I mean, like we normally see flat to slightly below in October, November, December, January, February. It'll fluctuate through there. We normally, starting March, April, we start moving up. Some months are a tenth up or a tenth down. Some months are zero point 0.8 or zero point 0.9 or a whole percentage up. Um, Overall, year to date, we're still running as a nation 5.8%. And Georgia in particular is right there as well. We're running in that 5 to 6% property value appreciation range. So don't let one metric throw you off because when you really start looking at it, like
If you
here,
see the headline, read the content
yeah.
because the content will tell you where they are going
Yeah.
down.
And so you can see that in Georgia, we're in that 5 to 7% property value appreciation range. You can see that there's some parts in the country that are not seeing positive property value appreciation. And there's always going to be some markets where it's just
Yep.
not the right time. It's not the right place. Those kind of things are going to happen. First of all, it's not in Georgia. And overall, when you put the nation into it, Like don't get swayed by that. Now, at the same time, like what really matters is not just property value appreciation, but like how much equity do you have, you know? And so uh, in the fourth quarter of last year, Americans gained $1.3 trillion in equity, 8.6% property value appreciation. And that's just in the fourth quarter of last year. And so like this is the value of home ownership. You know, when folks
Versus rent.
say should I rent or should I buy? Well, do you want to be one of the Americans that took advantage of being part of the $1.3 trillion in property value appreciation, or do you want to be a renter that just paid 100% interest on
On a property
on their
that you
own?
don't own.
Now, at the same time, we always hear, well, what's going to happen with that market crash? Negative equity, meaning the number of properties that have negative equity fell by 15% under last year. Basically, 180,000 less homes now have negative equity, and you can see that here in Georgia, uh, only 1.7% of every property in the state of Georgia means it is not in positive equity. That means 98.3% of all homes in Georgia have positive equity. When somebody says, well, we're thinking about it, like we're going to wait for the crash, we're going to wait when the market, like we think a crash is coming. 98.3% of all the homes in the state of Georgia have positive appreciation. And so are they going to get foreclosed on, or are they just going to sell and capture that equity? They're going to sell and capture that
Mm-hmm.
equity is what's really going to happen. So there's really not any point in looking at that. And as a matter of fact, this is the average equity gain year over year for the state of Georgia in the last year. Meaning now they just took the total number of homeowners in the state of Georgia and the average equity. And last year, the average homeowner grew their equity by $25,000. Now,
Right.
if it's a starter home, they may have only been $16,000 for a
Right.
more expensive property. It's going to be more. But the average was for the average Georgian, their home is worth $25,000 more this year than it
Then it
was
was last
last year.
year.
Now, some people will say, "Gosh, should I buy?" And prices keep going up. You know what? They've gone up for the last 50 years. They're going to keep going up. And so either you're part of that appreciation or you're not. I don't see it always being double-digit growth and that kind of stuff. 4.4% property value appreciation is really, really normal. That's what we see
Mm-hmm.
on being a very normal basis. But either you're part of it or you're not, which is why the power of homeownership comes. Now, at the same time, uh, you know, the every month they test out and find out what do the consumers say as far as like how they feeling about buying and selling.
Selling.
Right now, 2/3 of consumers say that it is a good
Good time
time.
to sell.
Exactly. And so now's the time to be reaching out because the other great part about this is the prime selling season is coming up really, really soon. Now's the time to reach out,
And if
though.
you wait, everybody will be competing for the same
Yep.
folks.
So by the same and along these same lines, Freddie Mac, which they only track mortgages done paid by Freddie Mac,
Correct.
but here in the Atlanta market, year over year for Freddie Mac homes, 6.6% property
Increase.
value appreciation since March of 2020, since COVID, over 50%,
54. Yes.
54%.
It's crazy.
Yep. And at the same time, so Fannie Mae and a company called Pulsonomics, as well as 115 housing experts, economists, all the big shots, that kind of stuff. Fannie Mae got everybody together and said, "What do you think is going to be happening with property value appreciation?" And they're looking at 3.8% in 2024, 3.4% in 2025, and 3.9% in 2026. That's what this big giant brain trust. And you know what? This is really, really healthy for
So
us.
in just 2 years, a little over 2 years, you're looking over 11% in increase.
Yeah.
So if you wait, you're gonna be paying 11% more in a couple of years down the road.
Well, no, this is still good news. I mean, like, this is really good news for buyers. A
Absolutely.
lot of people will say, well, why would that be good news for buyers? Well, because do you want to buy a home and think that it's going down in value? Who wants to
Absolutely not.
buy when the market's going down? That's not a very safe place to be. But when you buy and you say, if I buy this, I'm gonna start seeing property value appreciation every year for the next few years, especially kind of thing going in.
And buyers, you got to be
Yep.
careful. You're not buying the most expensive home in a neighborhood, or you buying an odd home that was appraised a little differently than your average. So, what we're talking about is the average annual return.
Yes.
And because real estate is very local, just want you to know that can change for your situation as well.
I mean, we'll probably be better than that in Georgia. Remember that on average it's 4.4% a year, and so we're just slightly below average. I think that we'll be in really
Great
good shape.
shape.
That's a very healthy place for us to be.
Hmm.
So overall, home ownership rates by race and generation. We wanted to kind of share these out here with you, and there are differences between the race as well as between the generations out here, and so one of the main reasons we want to point this out is not necessarily talking about race. We're not race people to talk about that. We feel that home ownership is important for every
Absolutely.
race, for every generation. Whether you're Gen Z, Gen X, baby boomers like us,
Millennial.
millennials, or I'm
We're
sorry,
not
yeah, I'm
millennial.
sorry, we're
Dear.
definitely not. We're Gen Xers. So, um, but like home ownership is so important, and we need to be the, I'm not sure cheerleader is the right word for that, but home ownership, like so much value comes in
Hmm.
overall value to the community, in people's health, safety. Like home ownership does so much in addition to being the number one source for wealth creation in the United
Equity.
States.
Yep.
So now President Biden did, had
A proposal.
well, he just had the State of the Union, and so he proposed. He's got three different things that he threw out there, and we're really excited about all of them. First thing is he talked about mortgage relief credit, and he's proposing a $5,000 annual tax credit for middle class first time home buyers for the first 2 years, and it's designed to kind of ease that burden. And so anything that we can do that helps people get into more homes, we are down with.
Absolutely.
The other thing that they're looking at is a first, it's
First
for
time.
first, well, it's first
First generation.
generation first time home buyers. And it's up to a $25,000 in down payment assistance. And then the last thing
Well,
is,
I understand any down payment system, it always have a string attached,
it
meaning
does.
there is stipulations and requirements. So please read those carefully and ask your lender about
Well,
those
well,
questions.
actually, but here's the kicker. This is, and I'm not being political, but this is talk right now.
Correct.
And that we don't have
Anything
anything.
in
There's
writing.
nothing to do yet. That he is asking Congress to come up with these. He is asking the different government agencies to look at putting these things into place. And so I'm not saying that they won't happen. I hope that they happen. But
But these are just
but don't
proposals.
call next week and be like, "Yo, Alan,
What
what's
is this
going on
about
this?"
the
And we don't
first
have it
time
yet.
generation
Just
homeowner?
know that it's supposed to be coming.
Yes.
Now, one thing that we're not crazy about is they talked about lowering costs for refinancing, but how they want to do that is they want to eliminate title insurance. And we think that's a horrible
That's a
mistake.
horrible mistake. Just
Yeah.
because there are so much fraud going on right now.
Yeah.
If you do not buy title insurance, what I mean, everybody pays what $7.99 for iPhone every month for the insurance. That's
Yeah.
about $1,000. Why wouldn't you buy title insurance? That's a
That's
very
$1,000.
for $1,000 iPhone.
Oh, for $1,000. I thought you okay. Yeah,
7.99 a
I thought you
month.
meant seven ninety
A
nine a month times
month.
12. Sorry.
Okay. So if you take that, you do the math.
Yep.
There is almost what close to $100
Yeah.
a year. So you spend $100 a year on iPhone insurance. Why wouldn't you pay a couple thousand for a $350,000 home? That is insurance, y'all.
Yeah, it's smart. So we don't really like that proposal. I understand that they would like to help lowering the refinancing costs, and I'm anything we can do to do that, but I'm not going to do it at the expense of protecting our clients either in
Correct.
there. So now, remote work is one of those things that is continuing to impact us. And so right now, nearly 1/3 of all workers are working
From home.
are working from home. Um, so a third of all their work weeks for the average worker is working from home. That's changing how people are buying houses.
Correct.
We're really seeing that remote hybrid work is influencing people's choice. We've seen where people have moved away from the cities over the past few years.
Absolutely,
Now,
because it's about price, price, price,
it
not just
has been.
locations anymore.
Now, and so we're seeing those kind of impacts, but we're also seeing those kind of impacts hit the office market.
Mm-hmm.
And so office, when especially on the office sectors, San Francisco is like the poster child for terrible for the worst hit offices.
Absolutely.
But 24% of their offices are
That's
vacant.
huge.
1 out of 4 is vacant, so it's a big deal. And not
That's less than 4 years. I mean, they went from 5.2% to about 24.
well,
I mean, that's huge.
it is, but Atlanta's not that much better. In the Atlanta market, we are running 21% vacant. Basically, 1 out of 5 is vacant. So, and that's up from 14. So we're not, the swing isn't as bad, but it's still
That's
pretty bad for the
7%
Atlanta
swing.
market. And so, not that this is not for here, there, or whatever. This is just talking about the overall real estate market. Like remote
Well,
work is affecting our. If you work in commercial, it's definitely affecting the office segment. But even for residential agents, it's changing in the way people buy houses. We're seeing that same impact, because if they're not going to work from the home, from the office, they're probably going to work from the home. But that's going to change, like having Zoom rooms, and we're seeing where open floor plans are much more difficult when you work from home, kind of thing.
absolutely.
So now the good news is mortgage rates dropped this week.
Yay!
Woo! Okay, well, we love seeing mortgage rates come down, moving into the right direction. It's a really positive thing for us. The other good news kind of going on is rent inflation.
Is receding.
And the reason that's so important is when you look at overall inflation numbers, one of the largest components of inflation is rent, is the cost of living. Well, the data that they use to track that is a year old. It's 12 months behind. And so, y'all remember when interest rates started, when the inflation started getting really bad, that's when we saw rents going up. But we've seen rents going down for over a year now.
Which is a blessing, because if you think about it, it allows a renter to save up some money for actual down payment when they're ready to buy.
So the good news for inflation is that we are going to be seeing inflation numbers continuing to drop moving on. The reason that's so important, especially when we talk interest rates, is interest rates are tied to inflation. Maybe not directly, but definitely indirectly.
Absolutely.
They are definitely tied together. So it's really great news to kind of see that. So there's a new study out about how and why people move. And so here's a news flash. They move for lifestyle, right? So the following reasons why people move. Number one, better quality of life. Like it's not the right place for me. Need more space, major life changes, work flexibility.
And
Some folks for a lot of lower cost of living.
Like our age, our children are getting ready to graduate from high school, and they're looking at downsizing. And because they
We
want to
talk
be
about
in,
downsizing a lot more than we actually do.
we actually did,
Yeah.
actually, with
Yeah.
all the
We
junk we
did.
had,
Yeah.
but not necessarily the space.
Yeah.
But anyway, needless to say, some of them are downsizing. They're moving to a location where there's a lot of more amenities, because, as we age, we don't want to be responsible for all the land, all the maintenance, and everything else. So,
well, but understand it's still like some
it
people.
has changed.
But there's still a lot of real estate folks who say, well, no one's going to move with these interest rates. No one's going to do this with this.
They're moving.
They're moving. They really, really are moving. And then, the other thing that they asked was, what were some of the challenges that you had during your move?
Stress of moving.
Stress. I mean, I promise you, like moving is
It's
so
no fun.
stressful. We need to be able to show some empathy for that.
Absolutely.
And so, just understanding how stressful that whole move process is out there. Now, one of the data points that came out of this study we found so interesting is
that is so awesome, actually.
Yeah. 42% of renters who moved
in 2023 became
homeowners. Yeah, they bought a house.
That is awesome.
And so if you have, almost half the people that were renting last year, if they moved, they bought. This is a huge metric that we really should be looking at if I was renting for so many of our millennial buyers, they're renting, and so like this is a great place where you should really be spending a little
Absolutely.
bit of time on there. So overall, total listings right now are trending up. We're seeing where we do have a slight trend increasing in listings, and we are so
Very thankful.
appreciative of the listings coming up. However, our new listings also are up. Okay, so we have more total listings, more
More
new
new
listings,
listings.
more inventory heading into our spring market, and we have interest rates softening a little bit. Not where we want them to be by any means, but we are seeing
Well,
that move in
the
the right direction.
projection is that probably around April is going to be where you see a big
Yeah.
difference, but that's a projection.
Yep. Now, overall, pending sales are really flat with where they were last year. We saw a jump in January, but February kind of tapered off some because we saw the interest rates kind of hump its way back up now, but they are starting to move back down into
Yes.
a more positive way. And so, at the, after all this that we've been talking about, there's a new study by Zillow. And Zillow, and they went out and said, what's the best time to list a home? And nationwide, the best time to list a home is in early June. In
That's
in the
according to
Atlanta,
Jello,
well,
Zillow,
but
so Jello.
in yeah, Jello, yeah. In
Okay.
in Atlanta, it is the second half of June is the best time when you have the greatest property value appreciation, the greatest number of people looking at it, the second week of June. Now, you can be like, Alan, we're in March,
Hmm.
but no one's ready to list right now. Now's the time to talk to your clients. Now's the time to prepare. Now's the time to go and meet with your potential sellers about what do they need to do to get their home fixed up. Let's get it decluttered now. Let's start getting these
Because
things to
that
ready.
process is going to take a little longer than you anticipate.
If you wait until June to reach out, you're behind the eight ball. You're not helping your clients because that may be the best time to list, but we'll work with clients for months in getting their home ready to sell, making recommendations, making repairs, touching it
And
up.
you are on contractor time as well, so
Yep.
make sure you allow yourself plenty of time to get this done.
Yeah. Now, overall, single family starts are starting to return. And so the graph we're kind of showing you is from National Association of Realtors kind of thing. And the green line represents the median on new construction for the last 50 years. And we are right at it. Okay. We are finally
Just
there.
slightly, yeah,
And
below,
so
but not too bad.
however, when you look at what's happened with the inventory of single family homes and the inventory of new construction as a percentage, I mean, if you look at back in 2012, for example, the number of new construction homes was,
Hmm.
I mean, not as high as it is today, but it wasn't great. But we had a lot more inventory of
Absolutely.
existing homes. We don't have as much inventory right now.
You
And so,
can you can see the gap narrowing
well,
as well.
it's almost, I mean, like new construction accounts for between 40 and 50% of all listings right now. That is
And
astronomical.
a third of them are what's sold. So
And we're seeing so many agents that aren't comfortable dealing in new construction.
no, they're not.
And being understanding that if you don't feel comfortable in new construction and almost half of our inventory is new construction, are you really going to be able to do a good job for your clients? Because like this is a necessary skill, understanding how to work in the
Absolutely.
new construction environment. So please, we got some new CE classes coming out talking about new
And we got
construction.
some lunch and learn
Yep.
that is very powerful. So check our calendar, call the
Yep.
office, talk to them.
Yeah, it's important. So overall, there's a new study out there talking about where do most people move from that are coming to Atlanta.
Atlanta.
Number one, still New York. People from New York move here more than any other place. After that, interesting, is Charlotte. So New York's number one, Charlotte's number two. After that, Miami. So we like to stay on the East Coast here, kind of thing. Um, we have an issue going on with a lot of our clients, and so there is a ton.
Communication.
Well, well,
And it's not from us.
well, fraudulent activities against our clients are increasing.
Huge.
And so the first thing I want you to understand is 1 in 4 are targeted with suspicious communications. 1 in 10 became a target of fraud, and 1 in 20
Become
became
a
a
victim.
victim. Now, the reason all those are really important for us to understand is the next data point, which is 71% of consumers think it's somebody else's responsibility to teach them about it. So what that
About the
means
wire
is,
fraud.
well, not just about fraud, and so like everyone wants to blame somebody else. And in a real estate transaction, guess who's going to blame you? Everybody.
Hmm.
Okay. So 71% of your clients feel like it's your responsibility to teach them about wire fraud, to warn them about wire fraud.
Well, if you think about 1 out of 20 become a victim, that is huge, really huge. So,
Well, because, and especially in the real estate transactions, like we're not talking little amounts of money.
we're
We're
talking
talking
a
big
large
dollars
amount.
here, kind of thing. And 1 out of 20, that's life impacting when that hits a client of yours. That can be really, really painful. But understand that they're going to blame you. So please make sure that
Have a great consultation
yes.
about wire fraud
Yeah, and we don't play games with
and
wire
any
fraud. Yeah,
fraudulent
all the steps that
emails.
go through
Yep.
doing wire fraud, whatever your company policies are, follow that. We don't ever send wiring instructions from your
Agents should
email
not.
ever,
You can request one, but
but
not
don't do
sending
it. Yeah.
one.
So overall, we are seeing rents, which is we talked about rents earlier. Probably should have tied it into this one, but like what markets are seeing the highest rent depreciations? Atlanta's number two. Average rents in the Atlanta area are down 4.5%. We're the second biggest in the nation, kind of thing. And so that's actually a really good thing because that means that our renters can save more money to go buy homes. And so now of that, what we're seeing is apartment complexes in suburbs are increasing a lot more than the apartment complexes in town, that kind of thing. Now, the reason why we're seeing so much depreciation in rents is because of construction.
1 million apartments are under construction today.
Yeah, and now we don't see construction starts on new construction rising anymore. Everyone's kind of realized it's kind of hit a tipping point. However, all those projects that have been started over the last couple of years are still gonna
Finish
finish.
off.
And
Yes.
so like we have peaked on the number of new permits coming. And so we will start seeing that number lag down. We're going to see where
For apartments.
the overall number of apartments being built is finally going to start to decline and slow down, and then we'll start seeing rents there move back up. But now's a good place for us to look at moving forward on that.
Absolutely.
So don't forget.
If you need some Maximum One swag, go to max1market.com.
Yep. And now CE this week. So on Tuesday we have our monthly sales meeting. That's going to be in all partners' offices as well as down in Warner Robins. We all jump in together. It's 10 o'clock on Tuesday. Please, we don't care who you're with. Come in and join us, kind of thing.
Seriously, just come in and learn some knowledge.
Yep. Now on Wednesday we have DISC, building relationships in real estate, and so that's going to be at our airport office. Nope, not
No,
by
you're
me.
not teaching
No,
them?
no.
Oh,
I'm
I'm
teaching
surprised.
Thursday.
Oh,
So Thursday is Fat
Fat Tuesday. That's what he's
Fast
thinking.
top dollar home sales with
No, that's
staging.
Mardi Gras.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah. But that's going to be over in our Conyers office. I'm teaching staging, and this is if you want to be a great listing agent, you really need to kind of jump into. You'd have to be a great stager and understand the power of staging.
Well, like they said, your first impression is everything.
Yeah. So we hope you guys have a great week. If we can be any kind of service, please call, text, smoke signals. We don't care. Hope you guys have a great week.
Thank you. Have a
Thank you.
wonderful week.